Hey everyone, welcome to a new video. I wanted to make this video because I'm still getting some questions about stockphotographyautomation.com, how to use it, and some things that people are experiencing. So stockphotographyautomation.com is the domain name. You guys can click the link in the description or the link in the pinned comments to go. You can create an account completely for free, and you can see the same interface I'm seeing now on your accounts, okay? What stock photography automation does is it allows you to create images, to upscale images, and to send them to your Adobe Stock account with just a few clicks. And you can create 50 plus images at a time. I've had tutorials and videos that I've shown in the past, but I'm going to show you a very small briefing right now as to how it works. First thing you do is you pick a model. Each model is a little bit different in that how much it costs, how much training there was behind it, and what it is capable of. Currently, we have all these image models and one video model. We'll be adding more video models in the future, but these are custom trained models. These are not models like Midjourney, or they're not models like Ideogram, for example. And all those models are great, and all those businesses are great, but this is a little bit different because it's custom trained. Okay, that's all it comes down to. This model right here is the only model of the 5 image models that produces 4 images per hit. All right, so that's why it's 10 tokens here. So if I create an image, or I ask for an image, and I ask for, let's just say, let's create some abstract colored wallpaper on a cement, and then we'll type in here minimalism. We'll type in concrete. Okay, something like that, and let's go ahead and hit generate. Now, I want you to pay attention to what settings I set. This is just purely for tutorial purposes. The mode I'm going to use for this second is normal. We're going to do this again in just a second, but I'm going to also use the widescreen version, okay? So aspect ratio just means your sizing, okay? And I'm going to go with a widescreen, and I'm going to hit generate, okay? It's going to confirm how much the tokens cost. I'm going to click confirm. I'm going to go over here and click do not remind me again, and I'll hit I understand, and we'll wait for these images to become generated. Now, I'm going to show you how this kind of works, because if you notice here, this prompt right here is the exact prompt that I provided to it. Because why? It's on normal mode, meaning take the exact same prompt, okay, and I paste it here, and I use any one as these images are being created. If I use any one of these models, not models, but modes, supernova, let's say, what's going to happen is it's going to change the actual imagery, okay? It's going to change the actual prompt that's being sent to the AI. So here, right, I have 5 prompts, supernova mode, okay? And look, you can see the images being created. Same exact prompt. I'm going to hit generate, okay? Supernova, 5 images, 50. Now, the reason why it costs 50 is because I have 5 times the 10. It's going to create 5 different prompts based on this one prompt. So it takes this prompt as an idea, and it changes it. It adds variation to it. And one of the reasons why I implemented this feature, a lot of people are curious, why does this feature exist? Why does it take my prompt and then it completely writes a completely different prompt related to it? Is the whole point of this, guys, is to reduce rejections by Adobe Stock. That's the whole purpose of this feature. Now, you're probably asking, how does that reduce rejections? Adobe Stock increases rejections on images that are similar to images that are already found in your portfolio or on the website already. So what that means is you need some sort of variance to these images that are being different. Now, Adobe Stock doesn't have an AI scanner that scans these images across the entire server. So what do they have instead? They have a web-like structure researcher format that takes in the keywords that you tag and title those images with. That's how they determine if an image is deemed similar or it's deemed different, and thereby either increasing or decreasing your rejection rate. Now, if you look here, this is one of the prompts that are outputted into this image. Every single prompt's title has some relation to do with the actual image. If you look here, we click on this AI metadata button, we can click and we can see how the images differ, okay, from their prompts, because effectively the title is the prompt. All right. If we look here, this is, by the way, the title is the prompt before we use the metadata feature. Okay, I want to be clear about that. And so if you could see, we read the back end of this prompt right here. It says overcast sky evoking a sense of raw elegance and modern art. It has the same prompt as this one, because remember, the model works every 4 images share a prompt. However, this prompt is different than the actual prompt that I provided to it, if you guys remember, because this was the original prompt: abstract colored wallpaper on a cement house wall, minimalism concrete. So what did the AI do? It takes this prompt, it converts it, it changes it, it keeps some similar mentality, but it adds to it. It makes it different. And that's how we reduce our rejection rate here. So you can see these images with my original prompt came out like this. And then when we add it to Supernova, the images look completely different. And I would say they look even better. You can see how crazy some of these images look. I'm zooming in here. Now, what's left to do for these images? We now know that these images take my original prompt. They create prompts based on my prompt by creating variants. And then what they do is time to add titles and tags to these images. So how is this going to work? We click on the metadata button here, and then we select all the images that we want to have a different prompt, title and tags, right? You can see here I already have some images that have title and tags, so I'm not going to select all of them. I'm going to click clear here, and I'm going to select which ones I actually want to add it to. So let's just say in this case I hit select all. What I should have done before the video is over is I should have deleted all the images that I no longer need for this video, but I'm deselecting all the images that I don't want to be tagged and titled because they were, past tutorial videos or whatever it was, and I deselected them. And you can see here it's, I have a whole bunch of images now that will be tagged and titled, okay? Let's go ahead and make sure they're all selected. 24 images in this case. And let's go ahead and use 48 tokens to get that done, to get them both tagged and titled. You can see they're being tagged and titled now. I have a balance left of 37 total tokens, but remember, we created the images. We created images with different prompts. And then what we did was we tagged and titled them. The only thing left now is to get them upscaled, right? Because that's how Adobe is going to accept them. And then we have to publish them to Adobe Stock. So that's all it is. Now, there are some things I do want to state as this is doing its job and as it's working. You can see here the images on the bottom that are green are the ones that are completed with their tagging and titling process. And then we have images on the bottom here that are not yet started. And then we have some that are purple, which means that's the one that's currently working on. But I do have some things I do want to say. I had a comment in one of my last videos where I showed the video model and how it worked. And the person commented and he said, oh, I've tried Kling, I've tried all kinds of video generators, and every single one rejects my video. For anybody out here who's using AI video, we both know that Adobe Stock accepts AI video. However, the video has to be decent quality enough for them to accept it. There's only 2 main issues when it comes to rejections with videos. The first one is trademark issues or IP issues, and the second one is quality issues. So an IP issue means what? If you in your prompt tried to ask the AI to mimic some sort of style, like for example, I'll give you an example. I asked the AI to create for me a beautiful video of an overhead drone footage of a farm with a supercar parked out in front of that farm. I didn't specify what kind of supercar, but I said in the style of 007. If you're familiar with what 007 is, Agent 007, James Bond, that is IP. That's something that I can't necessarily use. And I wasn't thinking about it at the time, but I submitted it to the AI, and the AI knew that that was used in the prompt. How do they know? Because every single piece of AI image that's created has what's referred to as a seed phrase. That's how they know when an image is published to Adobe Stock, they know if it's AI or if it's not AI. They already know these things, so you can't really lie to them. And so I completely forgot that I used that 007. I forgot that it was important to begin with, because remember, I'm doing everything automated. I'm not manually doing really any work in this business anymore. So when I put 007, I hit submit to that for Google, for Adobe Stock, they rejected it off of IP basis. So there's only two things that cause rejections for video, guys. It's either quality or it's either IP. And most people are not dealing with IP, they're dealing with quality issues, because why? The video that they're created is either not upscaled, or secondarily, it's not high enough pixels, which is why, and by the way, this is completed here. You could see the title and tags have been completed, which is why I forced that any video created on our platform has to be 2500 pixels and up, because 2500 pixels is equal to 2K. That's what it's equivalent to, 2K video. And 2K video is important for getting those acceptances, which help us reduce the chance of upscaling. Upscaling is very expensive on videos, guys. And when you guys submit low quality video that's not upscaled, it's 100% going to get rejected. So to that individual who said AI video doesn't work, no, it works, but it doesn't work if your video is low quality, or if it has IP, which is the reasons why I had my video rejected, not off of quality, but based on IP because of the prompt. And once again, they know what prompts are using because it's stored in the metadata of that image. You cannot edit the metadata of certain images, guys, especially in our circumstance. We're not editing anything. We're just literally submitting it. So right now we have our tags, we have our titles for all images. Remember, we had 4 images here and we have 20 images here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to select these batches if I have enough tokens. I'm not sure, but we're going to have to upscale them. So if I click upscale, let's see how much it costs. You can see I'm missing tokens. I'm going to need more tokens, but for now, let me click off. Let's see here, upscale. Let's see if I can, nope. I'm probably going to have to like deselect some of them, but I'll go ahead down the line here. I'll deselect like a few. Okay, I'll keep this one, keep this one. I'll reject this one, for example, reject this one, reject this one, just reject a few so that I can make this video kind of move forward here. Let's see if I upscale. Okay, one more image to deselect. Let's deselect this one, and I should be okay. Okay, we're going to click upscale on 10 different ones. Let's hit confirm and use tokens. And now it's upscaling those select images that I have. So remember, I've upscaled. I've created the images. I've tagged and titled all the images. There's natural variance to the images, which is what Supernova or Time Warp does.